a.m. Welcome to ELN Radio. We begin today with top stories across the state and nation.
Today, President Obama will issue an executive order increasing the amount of people receiving overtime pay. According to the Associated Press, the order is meant to help salaried workers who are expected to work more than 40 hours a week without overtime pay. The current law guarantees overtime pay to full-time employees who earn fewer than $455 a week.
North Carolina Senator Richard Burr is also looking to get more money for constituents, but his efforts are targeted at child care. Senator Burr is one of many congressmen working to increase the federal child care subsidy program. The new plan laid out yesterday would revise some benchmarks for participating child care providers and give more money to the states to help lower-income parents pay for child care while attending work or school.
And some different good news for North Carolina. The Asheboro Zoo is open again for after a four-day shutdown due to the weather. While the polar bears probably didn't mind, the reopening means more visitors and more revenue for the zoo. In January, the zoo closed down for 4 days, and last month's snowstorm shut the zoo down for 6 days. Today is Wednesday, March 12th. Good evening. I'm Brandon Joyner.
And I'm Al Drago. The time is 6:01, and ELN Radio starts right now.
We begin tonight with an update on the building explosion and collapse in New York City.
More than a dozen people are still missing since a gas leak caused a major explosion in East Harlem this morning. 2 women are dead, and at least 50 people are injured after 2 5-story buildings collapsed. About 200 firefighters have been on the scene since the blast went off around 9:30 this morning, as well as New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio. Residents of the complex weren't the only ones affected. Elon freshman Alexandra Lambiris shared her family's experience.
Well, a friend who goes to Columbia texted me this morning and told me that there was a gas leak and a building exploded a couple blocks away from her dorm, and that she was okay though, and it was pretty scary. The explosion was on 116th and Park Avenue, and I live on 96 between Madison and 5th, so it's about 20 blocks away, so fairly close. My parents are good. They just said that the traffic in New York is pretty intense right now, and my mom was actually trying to go to Connecticut today and wasn't able to because you can't move, and it's pretty dramatic.
Residents packed Town Hall Tuesday during the Board of Aldermen's meeting to discuss the plan for developing the downtown Elon area. A representative of Kaufman Associates, based in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, explained the plan for the 8-block expansion. The plan includes a town commons, local shops, expanded sidewalks, bike lanes, and a non-student housing development for townhomes.
The Acorn Inn owner Mike Brown said he first heard about the proposed changes was in last month's Burlington Times News, and he said it was a rude awakening to learn that his business was no longer part of the town's vision. Residents also brought up concerns about tax increases, fire insurance, and safety with new zoning codes for 4-story buildings. A new sewage and water management plan would also have to be put in place for both existing and new buildings. Building owners and residents at the meeting voiced their displeasure with the plan, especially with the possibility of being ousted from their current homes and businesses. The Board of Aldermen has not yet made a decision on the master plan, but they say it will take residents' comments into consideration.
While the weather brought some heat to the area yesterday, many North Carolina residents are still without it from last week's ice storm. Duke Energy's website says there are still about 100 Alamance County households without power and more than 1,000 powerless homes across the state. Duke Energy says that all power problems in Alamance County will be fixed by 11 p.m. tonight. Throughout Burlington, town officials are asking all residents to move debris from their yard to the curb, as curbside pickup is underway by the town. The cleanup continues on campus as well, with physical plant and landscaping crews working daily to remove downed tree limbs.
We have with us Kirk Puckett, Director of Emergency Management for Alamance County, with us to give us an update of how Alamance County is doing to continue from their storm coverage cleanup from last week. Mr. Puckett, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, guys. Thank you very much for providing us this opportunity to talk with you.
Thanks so much. Could you give me a current update on how the county's cleanup is going?
Well, it's needless to say, is going slow because there are tons and tons of debris. I came out of a meeting earlier this afternoon where all the municipalities got together. We did get some good news in that the Department of Transportation has agreed to pick up debris for residents who live on state-maintained roads. Now, for the average folk who are listening, that's not going to be your average residential street. But if we look at Alamance County, primarily highways that would run through Elon, such as 87, 70, and the outskirts of the Alamance County area, Highway 62, 49, 54, and so forth. That was really good news because that will take a lot of pressure off of some of the smaller municipalities such as Haw River, Elon, Mebane, Graham, that don't have the infrastructure to be able to readily get debris off of what is truly a massive proportion. So Alamance County continues to be in a very high post-cleanup as we continue to assess not only the damages from fallen limbs, but the structural damage as well. We've been in contact with folks from the State Office of Emergency Management, and we are trying to gather damage assessments as much as we can. And it's just so early, we don't have any preliminary figures right now. But as you can imagine, it's almost an around-the-clock effort right now for all the municipalities of Alamance County.
Well, thank you so much. Just one more question for you. Do you have an estimated time that you'll be done with all the cleanup in the next week or so?
No, we really don't. Again, we are trying to pool as many resources as we can with municipalities helping each other out. Some private contractors have been brought in as well. The state has also contracted with some private folks to try and get this debris up as quickly as possible. Our number one priority, of course, as you can imagine, was the safety of our residents. We wanted to try and get the roadways as clear as we possibly can. There are still some places on the outskirts of Alamance County where you get out into the rural areas where it is clearly, as my mother used to say, closet dark, where there are some trees that are protruding out on the right-of-way that are going to have high priority. But again, without the sufficient amount of resources in order to get that done, it's going to be a slow process, and it's just hard to put a time frame on that.
Of course. Well, thank you so much for calling, Mr. Puckett.
Absolutely. Again, thank you guys so much for giving us the opportunity to get the information out.
All right, thank you. Take care. In an email to students, Smith-Jackson released Elon's annual crime report. So why should you care? These are the numbers that incoming students, and more importantly, their parents, see in admissions material. The report lists the amount of crime for the 2012 school year. In 2012, there were 557 disciplinary actions taken for liquor law violations. On campus, there were 10 burglaries and 1 illegal weapon violation. However, there were no cases of murder, manslaughter, or arson in 2012. As always, be sure to check elonlocalnews.com for the latest crime news.
Next on ELN Radio, we'll bring you the latest in international news.
The time is 6:08. We'll be right back on 89.3 WSOE.
WSOE is sponsored by NC Jelly Donuts, serving donuts where you pick the filling. Located on 3260 South Church Street, NC Jelly Donuts.
WSOE is supported by Taza Indian Bistro, serving Indian cuisine for lunch, buffet, and dinner. Located on 579 Huffman Mill Road in Burlington. More information at TazaBistro.com. It's Taza Indian Bistro.
WSOE is proud to have Dunkin' Donuts as a sponsor. Donuts and coffee all day long, located at 2526 South Church Street. More information at DunkinDonuts.com. Dunkin' Donuts.
Five Springs Bottled Water is a sponsor of WSOE. Water coolers and water available for homes, businesses, and students. Five Springs Bottled Water can be reached at 336-584-8822. Five Springs Bottled Water.
WSOE is sponsored by Anna Maria's Pizzeria, serving pizza and Italian cuisine. Delivery is available at 336-449-4491, and Phoenix Cash is accepted. Anna Maria's Pizzeria.
Hey guys, it's Tom Fazio from WSOE 89.3, the only alternative. Every Tuesday at 10 p.m., I'll be playing all kinds of hip-hop music, such as 90s rap, underground and alternative rap, some mainstream hip-hop with good lyrical content. Make sure you tune in with me, DJ Faz, on Hip Hop Nonstop.
Been wondering how What's Her Name has been?
Then tune in Saturdays from 10 to midnight
With Allison
and Maddie and get your party started with
the What's Her Names on WSOE.
You're listening to ELN Radio on 89.3 WSOE. We move now from the news of Elon to what's going on overseas.
It's been now 5 days since a Boeing 777 vanished over Southeast Asia. But now, a Chinese agency says a Chinese satellite, quote, observed a suspected crash area at sea while looking into the disappearance of Malaysia Airlines Flight 370. The flight carried 239 people when it vanished Saturday en route to Beijing from Kuala Lumpur. The message from the Chinese agency comes just hours after search parties expanded their search area to 27,000 miles today, hitting more than double the area of land and sea than yesterday alone. Despite a potential lead, officials say it's concerning that the search area has continued to grow instead of narrowing. Here's Malaysian Minister of Defense Hishamuddin Hussein.
This is unprecedented, what we are going through. Coordinating so many countries together is not something that is easy. We're looking at so many vessels and aircraft, so many countries to coordinate, and a vast area for us to search. And each time that passes, I fear that the search and rescue becomes just a search. But we will never give up hope.
But with each day passing, the possibility of a rescue becomes dim for friends and family of the passengers and crews aboard the flight. Many are growing frustrated with the lack of results, like father missing parent Lang Ying.
I'm not going home until I know what happened. We've lost loved ones, and they need to answer our questions. When are you going to tell us? And what are you going to do? We still don't know if they are alive or dead.
The conflict in the Ukraine is heating up as the Crimean Peninsula heads towards Sunday's referendum on whether or not to become part of Russia. All flights to the regional capital, Simferopol, have been canceled, unless they are coming from Russia. In 1992, the Crimean Peninsula was the Republic of Crimea and voted to join Ukraine. Residents can choose to accept the Constitution from 1992 or change their nationality. The Ukraine's interim leader is in Washington right now to help gain Western support for the Ukrainian Authority over Crimea and the economy. The White House and Secretary of State John Kerry have said they stand behind the president and Kiev.
While we respect, obviously, that Russia has deep historical, cultural, and other kinds of interests with respect to Ukraine and particularly Crimea, nothing justifies a military intervention that the world has witnessed.
No matter the outcome of Sunday's vote, the future of Crimea is uncertain, and the conflict may continue for a while.
Coming up next, life after Elon. Two students who have very different plans.
And yesterday was Elon Day. Did you use the hashtag? We'll tell you how many people did after the break. Your radio on WSOE 89.3.
Start your week off right with a fresh cup of the breakfast blend with me, Isabel.
And Laurier. We play a variety of music from Death Cab to Beach House every Monday from 8 to 9 a.m. WSOE 89.3, the only alternative.
This is Chris Tarpley with Peace, Love, and Music. I'll be filling your ears with music ranging from jazz to neo-soul. Check me out on Mondays, 2 to 3, on WSOE 89.3, Elon, Burlington.
Hi, this is Becca.
And I'm Liam. We brought a real live mime to come tell you about our show.
Take it away, Mimey.
So yeah, as you said, listen to our show, Sweet Jams and Witty Banter, Wednesdays at 4 p.m.
Here on WSOE 89.3, the only alternative.
Moog Fest.
Prepping yourself for this year's Moog Fest? Tune in to WSOE 8 p.m. on Tuesdays to hear our Moog Fest themed show, featuring artists such as Kraftwerk, MIA, Flying Lotus, and many more from this year's lineup.
In a world where the masses can't find good music on the radio,
No, God!
one radio show goes against all the odds,
Get on the microphone in a serious manner.
bringing you all the action, drama,
Shut up! Shut up!
romance,
You complete me.
and music that you crave.
I'm talking about bands that rock.
You're you're looking for, that's Moderately Raven on WSOE 89.3 every Saturday from noon to 1 with me, Mac White.
Yeah, Mr. White.
That's Moderately Raven. It's the radio show that you've been craving.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
Welcome back. You're listening to ELN Radio on 89.3 WSOE.
Yesterday was a special day on campus when students and faculty celebrated Elon's 125th anniversary. The celebration began at the special Founders Day College Coffee. Phi Beta Kappa Plaza was filled with hundreds of students, faculty, and staff dressed in maroon and gold. The three living presidents, Earl Daniely Jr., Fred Young, and Leo Lambert, planted trees in the Founders Grove during the tree planting ceremony. Gifts and donations are going toward different areas of the university, like academic departments and student scholarships. And organizers from the Martin Alumni Center say they have not yet finished counting the donations from the day. According to Elon's social media manager, Philip Jones, the hashtag Elon Day appeared in 2,200 tweets, 879 Instagram posts, and his office received nearly 200 photos via email. Jones says that at one point yesterday morning, hashtag Elon Day became a nationwide trending topic on Twitter. While many seniors are brushing up on their interview skills, one student is preparing to raise money instead. Our Sarah Russell has more.
Seeing 11 countries in 11 months. This experience will begin for senior Katie Steele after graduation.
It's all about building relationships with people in these different countries and just helping them.
Steele is going on a service trip titled The World Race instead of searching for jobs.
I spent a lot of time praying about what it might look like to do something bold, to do something different.
Choosing to serve instead of accepting a job offer was a huge decision, so Steele turned to her faith for guidance.
It is a big task and it is scary, but I just know that I have to trust the Lord to keep me safe.
Before Steele can leave the U.S., she must raise $16,000 for her trip. She is also required to watch videos to help her fundraise, like this one.
Before we dive into the process of raising support, we need to lay out some good expectations and definitions about how our process works.
Steele plans to sell jewelry and have a pancake dinner on campus to help raise the money. And once she is back in the U.S., Steele hopes to continue to serve others through her work. Sarah Russell, Elon Local News.
If you would like to find out more about Katie's trip, visit her website at www.katiesteele.theworldrace.org.
Freshman year is usually about making friends and getting acquainted with campus. Our Connor McCoy found one student who is thinking a little differently during her first year.
Most freshmen are more focused on tomorrow's homework than life after college, but there are some, like Nicole Yalnifo, who are already looking to the future.
Well, I plan to graduate, and then I am applying to grad school. I want to be a chiropractor, but I'm also debating whether to go to med school and do orthopedics.
Yalnifo started to look into postgraduate programs and internships needed to get her dream job. According to her, she still has to complete a 6-year program after Elon in order to be a chiropractor. Her first 4 years of the program focus on in-depth lectures, followed by 2 years of hands-on training.
Right now, I'm really just getting like a basis of knowledge. Hopefully in the future, I'm going to do some research opportunities and study abroad too, and just really get like a background for anything that grad school may throw at me.
Over the summer, Yalnifo hopes to get an internship working with a physical therapist in her home state of New Hampshire. I'm Connor McCoy, Elon Local News.
While some students are focused on post-grad plans, others might be just looking forward to what's happening on campus. What do you have for us, Al?
Brandon, here's what's happening this week at Elon.
Tomorrow, the Political Science Department will host How to Rekindle the Cold War, a panel discussion on Ukraine, Russia, and U.S. foreign policy. The event will be held in Corey Business Center, 346 at 5 p.m.
Starting tomorrow night and running through Saturday, the Elon Dance Company will be presenting their spring concert, Looking Back to Spring Forward, in McCurry Theater. Shows are at 7:30 each evening and 2 p.m. Saturday afternoon.
On Tuesday, Elon professor Drew Perry is reading excerpts from his new novel, Kids These Days, at 7 p.m. in Johnston Hall. For more happening at Elon this week, be sure to check elonlocalnews.com and eNet.
I'm Justin Beagle, and coming up next, I'll bring you your Phoenix Sports Update.
The time is 6:20 and ELN Radio will return after the break. You're listening to WSOE 89.3.
Join Nick Atz and Will Lee in the Jazz Corner for a relaxing, almost sensuous night of jazzy tones. Thursday nights from 7 to 8 p.m. From classic to modern, kick back and feel way classier than you really are. Here on WSOE 89.3, the only alternative.
Hello there, and welcome to Jurassic Park. Yeah, you heard right. I'm Wilson Jacobs, and I'll be your tour guide every Wednesday, 3 to 4 p.m. from my station, Jurassic Park. That means the best hip-hop, the best R&B, the best. Remember, this is your ticket in, so don't forget to tune in Wednesdays from 3 to 4 p.m. I'm Wilson Jacobs signing off on WSOE 89.3, the only alternative.
Been wondering how what's-her-name has been? Then tune in Saturdays from 10 to midnight with Allison and Maddie and get your party started with the What's-Her-Names on WSOE.
Do you like good music? Of course you don't. Let us show you what good music is on the Ivory Tower Radio Hour, Mondays at 10 on WSOE with Mitch, Mac, and Kyle. Hey guys, this is Joe Book, and I'm begging you to be happy. The best way to do that is to listen to my show, A Cup of Joe, on Fridays from 10 to midnight on WSOE 89.3.
You're listening to The Stylist, playing your favorite 60s and 70s rock. Thursdays, 2 to 3 with Haley Rimland on 89.3 WSOE. Dreams unwind, love's a state of mind.
Welcome back to Elon Local News Radio Show.
This past week has been a crazy one for weather. Lauren Cook is in the studio with what we can expect to see for the rest of the week and into the last weekend before spring break. Lauren?
Hey guys, now if you've been outside at all today, you know the rain is falling down pretty hard. A severe thunderstorm has been moving into Elon's campus area for the past 20 minutes now, with predicted winds of 55 to 65 miles per hour. So be careful if you're walking around outside, but stay inside if you can. Now, the chance of thunderstorms is expected to continue throughout the night, but the temperature will stay around 70 degrees, so be ready to make a fashion statement with your shorts and rain boots. Looking ahead to the week, tomorrow the clouds will pass and it looks like sun, sun, sun. Clear skies with a 0% chance of rain. Grab your jacket though, it only looks to be a high of 44 degrees. Friday warms up to 58, but brings some clouds with the warm weather. Those clouds will stay through the weekend with a complete cover on Saturday, with a high of 64 degrees and a low of 41. No chance of rain yet, but wait till Sunday. The forecast calls for light showers throughout the day, so don't put away your umbrellas. The temperature drops to 57 degrees, so keep a light jacket on you. It looks to be a pretty diverse weather week this week, guys, so be prepared for it all. That's your Phoenix 5-day forecast. I'm Lauren Cook. Al, Brennan, back to you.
Thanks, Lauren. Though the weather isn't showing it, the calendar is. Spring break is just around the corner. With 10 days off from school, many students have plans to head south. If you're headed home, our Jeff Ackerman has some tips to keep you busy during break.
3, 2, 1. With spring break coming up, many students are headed home for the week. Though eating and sleeping is on the top of most students' priority lists, you have to get out of the house sometime. Here are some ideas to find cheap and easy ways to get you going. First, start by checking your state's website. Most states have a things to do or events section that has great information on events going around you. Also, try your government's parks websites to see what's going on outside, like concerts and art fairs. Museums always have something exciting going on, and you can usually find some good student deals. Local theater companies are also premiering their spring shows. Check out their websites to get some tickets with your student discount. Also, take advantage of the fact that you're not in class. Movie theaters have discounted tickets if you want to go to a matinee. Go really local and pick up your town's newspaper. Often, different organizations advertise things that they have going on. Also, check out the bulletin board at your favorite coffee shop or store. There are usually flyers advertising what's happening around town. And don't underestimate a simple Google search of free events in my area. You're only home for 10 days, so make it count. For the College Consumer, I'm Jeff Ackerman, Elon Local News.
You know him for his late-game heroics on the basketball court, but where exactly did senior guard Jack Eisenbarger learn all of his moves? I went to Alumni Gym and found out.
Get in! Meet Phil Eisenbarger, father of senior point guard Jack Eisenbarger. He looks like your everyday dad, but Jack says playing dad isn't his only role.
My dad's always kind of been my coach. He instilled kind of the importance of hard work and skill through basketball. It's just something we've always bonded over, and it's something we've both been passionate about.
Phil played for the Indiana Hoosiers between 1978 and 1981, but says teaching his son is even more rewarding.
To be able to coach your kids is really, really special. And of all the things that were rewarding that came from coaching, nothing was more rewarding than coaching him.
Phil helped lead his team to a national championship in 1981, but still thinks Jack is the better player.
He's just a much better player than I ever was. So that's been gratifying to see.
At first, when he said that, I didn't believe it. I was just thinking that's just a proud dad saying, "Oh, my son's better than me," and I kind of pushed it off and thought that was kind of just words for the wind.
Jack and Phil have both left their respective legacies in the history books, but say basketball is more than just a game.
You know, basketball's just always been part of our life, and it's not just the basketball, it's what you learn from the basketball. It's about teamwork and teammates and reaching goals. Basketball just happened to be the thing that we focused around.
And as Jack nears the end of his collegiate basketball career, he's happy he got to share the journey with his dad every step of the way.
I've been blessed to have my dad there along the way the whole time. When dad's in the stands, you know, you wanna play for him a little harder, and you wanna make him proud, just like any kid wants to make their dad proud.
Justin Beagle, Elon Local News. Jack and the rest of the men's basketball team fell short of a conference title this weekend in Asheville after falling 66-64 to Western Carolina in the quarterfinals. While the NCAA tournament is out of reach, Elon's men's basketball team still has hope for qualifying for 2 invitational postseason tournaments. The team should be notified of their selection by the end of this weekend. Meanwhile, the Elon baseball team will have a big 3-game series this weekend against Georgia and Southern. The 11-5 Phoenix would look to take down the 15-2 Eagles and climb up the SoCon standings. Last time these two teams squared off was in last year's SoCon tournament semifinals, where the Phoenix knocked off the Eagles 11-4 in Game 1 and 7-6 in Game 2. The Phoenix went on to beat the Citadel to win the conference title. The first game of the series will be on Friday at 6 p.m. from Latham Park.
While baseball is America's pastime, our Jeff Ackerman found a student who thinks his favorite sport is a hit.
Every time he puts on his boxing gloves and throws a punch, senior Shane Lau recalls one of his favorite sports.
We work at it, like when I first started boxing, the workouts were so intense, it would leave you dead pretty much after like an hour.
He started boxing when he was in high school. He did karate for most of his life, but decided he wanted to try a similar sport.
It's a really good workout, and yeah, I like the cardio it gives you, and yeah, I just thought it was fun.
And the hard-hitting sport comes with challenges. That's because it isn't always a safe one. Lau has had 3 separate concussions.
I mean, there's a lot of contact, obviously. Being a bit smaller, it's like you have to sometimes, like a lot of these boxers are like huge and you have to like punch up to them.
But it's still one of his favorite hobbies. He doesn't train at a gym anymore, but still gets a thrill every time he puts on those gloves. I asked Lau to show me how to box, and I quickly learned it's not as easy as it looks. After 2 minutes, I was out of breath.
I'm a pro.
Despite the daunting workout, Lau says it's worth it. He says boxing is more than just a sport, it's an art.
Like fighting in general, because there's so many different ways you can express yourself through fighting. Like there's Muhammad Ali, who likes to dance around, and he's like all about movement and power. And then there's Mike Tyson, who just kind of wades right in there and just slugs it out.
And if you're interested in learning how to box, he has one tip for you.
Dive right into it, absorb as much information as you can. The best way to learn how to box is just box.
Jeff Ackerman, Elon Local News.
And that's all we have for you this week on ELN Radio.
Be sure to check elonlocalnews.com and throughout the weekend and tune in to our regular ELN broadcast Monday at 6 p.m. on Channel 5 for the news you need to know from the bubble and beyond. And I'm Brandon Joyner.
And I'm Drago. Have a great week, Elon. And be sure to keep following us on Twitter at Elon Local News for up-to-date coverage. Have a great week, guys.